Okay, it's establishing a connection. Yay, there it is.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Sorry I'm a little late. It's been like manic today.
That's okay. That's okay. That actually helped me get rid of like the
Yeah,
jitters. So,
it's all good. How are
how
you
are
doing?
you? I'm
Oh,
doing great. Thanks. Um, I think I don't know. I think the whole, coronavirus thing going on, it's still kind of up in the air, I feel like, because there's just mixed messages on the news. So, just waiting to get something solid. Because I think we're trying to open back up at work. How about you? Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
hmm
goodness. Yeah, it's been a bit crazy here too. So we were actually supposed to fly back to the UK last week, but then they canceled our flights. So, yeah, so he's flying back next week because he's still a UK citizen, so he should have no problem. But I don't know if I should fly back with him because they're still technically turning away UK or US citizens. Because like if they deem your travel unnecessary, like they're like, oh, you don't have to go. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still like very unclear though because I feel like a lot of people are like unsure of what's happening right now. So I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
All good. Hi, Aiden. Thanks for joining. Well, yeah, so thank you so much for joining me on this. I'm super excited to feature you on this. So I'm live here in Denver, and you're based out of LA, right?
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
hmm
Super jealous. We had like a cold snap here a couple days ago, so I'm like, it's like winter again.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's
Well,
okay.
it's cold out here too, but it's like it's nothing compared to what it
Yeah.
is out there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, yeah, thanks again for joining me on this. And I'm just super excited to feature you on this. I kind of trialed this as like, my high achieving hustlers Q&A series every Tuesdays and Thursdays for young professionals and entrepreneurs. But I'm super excited about featuring you because you're a mindset coach. You've helped so many people just get out of their heads and,
hmm
find real transformation and further motivate, people to shift their money mindset. So, I will start by introducing you now. Okay, so a little bit about Victoria. So she is an empowerment and mindset coach who went from single struggling mom of two boys making minimum wage and spending 4 hours plus round trip
hmm
on public transport to an executive assistant to the CEO and life coach of a nationally known boutique style intensive outpatient for mental health and substance abuse. So when it comes to money and finances, Victoria believes a shift in mindset can really change your whole circumstance. So she increased her pay by over 200% in less than 1 year and a half and lives comfortably with her boyfriend and two kids in Brentwood, California, just 5 miles away from the beautiful sunny California. Super jealous. But that's amazing.
Yeah.
So inspiring. So with that being said, Victoria, thank you again for being on this Q&A
I'm so
today.
excited to be here.
Yay. Okay, so first of all, can you tell us a little bit more about your story and how you started out as a coach? Like, how did you make that transition to take that?
Well, it's funny. So I have been in the medical field as an administrative
Mhm.
person. Like I handle operations and management and all of that. It wasn't until I started working where I work now that I realized you can be a coach. Like we have like I don't know. I believe we probably have like six live coaches where I work,
Mhm.
and they're all most of them all are contractors. And so I've always been good at getting people to kind of come out of their shell and just kind of flourish and just bloom in their entirety. And so when I saw that at work, I was like, holy crap, you can make a career out of this.
Yeah.
so so that's how it started. It was all for just, just out of, I don't know, just seeing a spark in someone and making them aware of their own spark has just always been a passion of mine.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if you remember the story I told during our one day retreat with
Mhm.
Elaine. So one of my family members was always just cooped up in the room and she was just
Yeah.
kind of like depressed and all of that. So I just started becoming friends with her and just kind of, showing her, hey, like we have a lot of things in common. And
Yeah.
I think getting her to see that she's normal and she's human helped her break out of her shell. And she's like amazing now. She pulled me to the side 2 years later and told me that she was so thankful that I went into her room and became friends with her because at that time she was telling me she felt like she would probably still be in her room if I never ever went in there and just, you know, sparked a conversation with her. And she's like
Yeah.
working for NASA now. It's amazing.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
cool. Good for her. That's awesome.
Yeah. So then that got me into just that and multiple things throughout my life. Just kind of it just made me feel like, okay, because I love doing that, I might as well make a career out of it. So that's how
Mhm.
it started. And I got my certification over a year ago. So I've been doing it professionally for over a year now.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Thanks.
So when you made the leap, did you make the leap like in its entirety? Like, did you just go all in, or were you also like working full time, and then also like doing it as a side hustle, and then before you?
Yes. So I'm still working full time. It is right now still my side hustle, but the end goal is to eventually leave my 9 to 5 and just
Mhm.
do this and
Okay.
travel and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, good for you.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So can you speak a little bit about why like mindset is the foundation and why it's so important? You know, I feel like even with some of my own clients, right? They come to me oftentimes, they're like, "Oh, can we just skip over this? I feel like I already know about all that work, you know." And yeah, because I feel like, it's still like very core and it's still very important to make sure that we do address some of the mindset stuff.
Yeah, that's really interesting that people would want to skip over that. I hear that a lot.
Mhm.
I come across people that are like, you know, I hear this a lot, and
Mhm.
I don't think people really know until they try to go through the journey and realize that it's not yet right in their minds. They're not right in their heads yet. So you've probably heard this. Many people probably heard this, but thoughts create your reality. The
Mhm.
whole law of attraction thing, that's all
Yep,
true,
real.
100%. There is science behind that, and that's what I love about this whole thing. And part of my passion is bridging the gap between the science part and the spirituality part
Mhm.
of the law of attraction. So depending on your mindset, your thoughts can create either success or failure, happiness or unhappiness. It can create
Mhm.
obstacles for you or opportunities. So it kind of depends on how a person perceives the world around them,
Mhm.
because it's going to generate the thoughts that they have. And something that I like to teach is the thoughts that you have create the feelings that you're going to
Mhm.
feel, and those feelings affect the decisions that you're going to make and the
Mhm.
actions, which ultimately creates your reality.
Yeah.
So depending on, yeah, so whatever is going through your head, you're going to feel a certain way about it.
Mhm.
And you're going to end up making either good decisions or bad decisions.
Mhm.
And then those decisions have consequences, and the consequences is your current reality. So that's why it's the foundation. I'm glad that you said that. That's a really,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it is. It's the foundation of everything.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
runs your life.
exactly. No, and I think that was gold, what you just said just now. I was like ready to take
Thanks.
notes. Um, yeah, no, I think that's super important. And I feel like, especially with just like given respect to like everything that's going on right now, I feel like, a lot of people haven't ever been in isolation and it's like really like shined a light on like themselves, you know?
Hmm.
I'm fortunate that, we were like in lockdown with my family, we get to be together and stuff too. But, some people like, they are just with themselves and with their thoughts. And like you said, like, your mind can take you negative or positive, right? But it's what you choose to do from some of those, it's super important to look at that as well. Do you
Exactly.
have any like tips around like, like people dealing with like stress and anxiety around lockdown right now too?
Um, yes. So specifically with stress,
Mm.
it's gosh, it's kind of controversial saying this because people will get offended, but it's kind of made up.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can have the same problems and either feel stressed,
Hmm.
which is a choice that you're making, or you can think of what you can do to not, oh my gosh, how should I
Yeah.
explain this?
No worries.
It's just such a, oh my goodness. Okay, so I just feel like it's really made up. It is, cause I guess it's because I feel like I'm going to repeat myself. But basically, your stress is based on like how you're perceiving the situation. So the how you're thinking is going to generate those feelings,
Yep.
and that feeling is stress. So that's why stress. I know that people are going to be maybe upset about this, but stress is a made up. it's a made up
Mhm.
it's a made up state of a made up state. So you choose to be stressed.
Mhm.
And you can choose to not be stressed too.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
so happy you said that. Like, you just literally brought it full circle. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of moving into like, because I have a lot of like young professionals and young entrepreneurs in my audience. What top three tips do you have for them to like find the right mindset for productivity?
Okay. So for productivity, it's funny because I struggled with this too, but I struggled with like analysis paralysis.
Mhm.
So it's just you gotta take action. Know that you're gonna fail anyway, and it's
Mhm.
okay. Like
Love it.
don't get attached to the end result. Just get into the motion and of moving towards your goal. And if something happens, if something doesn't go according to plan, at least you're making that move forward.
Yeah.
Um, Also think with an abundance mindset. Again, if you are it all goes back to your actions again and how you think. So if you're thinking in an abundant mindset, you're going to make better decisions, and also visualize your success. I
Mhm.
think this is one of the most helpful things because people forget what they're why they're doing something.
Mhm.
So let me give you an example. I had a client who really wanted to get fit and work out, and one of his setbacks was the fact that we're in lockdown and he has nowhere to work out. He lives in an apartment where all of his, you know, family members are all there, so he just doesn't feel comfortable working out. So I asked him, "Where else can you work out? What are solutions to this problem?" And he said, "Well, I could work out outside, but I don't want people to see me." And I asked them, well, why don't you want them to see you? Like, why would you allow them to hold you back from achieving your goal? He couldn't really answer that. So I had to put it in perspective for him. I told him, okay, if God showed you, if God showed you your ideal body and he stood on the other side of a football field and he said, oh my gosh, I almost said my client's name. Let's just call him Taylor.
Yes.
And he said, Taylor, you can have this body, this six pack, these
Mm.
biceps,
Yeah.
these killer legs. All you have to do is walk down the football field,
Mhm.
and which was kind of like the obstacle. And I said, and if somebody was in the middle of the football field and saw you and pointed and laughed,
Mhm.
like, are you going to allow that random stranger stop you from continuing to walk towards your ideal body?
Mhm.
And so he was like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're so right. So I think visualizing your success, what you want, is really helpful because you remember your why and it's going to push you to continue to do what you do.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. And I'm glad that you brought that up too, because it's like I feel like sometimes too we get really stuck and really focused on the end results, when part of it too is just like, you just have to take the steps, even if it's just small baby steps to start getting there.
Hmm.
But visualizing that end result is good too. Um, so I know like, when we start talking about like, we don't want to get too connected to the end result, which could be like, maybe an income figure or a sales goal or something like that. Um, I know that a big part of this foundation, though, it all comes from like money stories.
Mm-hmm.
um, what did you find were, some of your biggest challenges starting out as it relates to money stories?
Um, I think some of the big challenges I had was investing in myself.
Mhm.
I think it was hard for me to put a huge chunk of money into like coaches and things like that. But I knew that if I wanted to get where I wanted to go, I needed to spend that money. And also, I think a big money story that I grew up with that really made things difficult for me to get through life back then
Mhm.
was I always heard we don't have any money.
Mhm.
And because I always heard that, that was that was how I was living. Like I had money in the bank, but
Yeah.
like I was holding on to it because it's
Mhm.
like it's like, oh my God, I have like my phone bill and my car payments and my
Yeah.
rent, but I don't want to pay for my
Hmm.
responsibilities
Yeah.
because I don't want to lose my money.
Right.
So I that led to me like be always being late on my bills, getting my phone cut
Hmm.
off and like ruining my credit and like and then to give us that feeling of abundance, we would then spend that money towards things like going out with friends and
Yeah.
drinking and like buying
Yep.
new clothes just to feel a certain way um, because of the reality, which was, at that time, I really didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But shifting my mindset really changed things for me. I started thinking, oh, I have a lot of money. I have, just like paying for bills, for example, I came from a place of gratitude.
Yep.
And I was very grateful that I can pay my bills. I would say these affirmations to myself.
Yeah.
I
Good.
would pay my bills with a smile, and it changed everything. It changed the chemicals in my body, and therefore rewiring my brain. And so I found that paying for my bills helped me feel more abundant because
Mhm.
in my head now I knew, oh, I have a job, although it wasn't paying much. I have a job that's putting money in my bank account that that is giving me the ability to have all of these things, having my phone, having my car, having a roof over my head.
Exactly.
So changing that mindset really helped. And after that, not long after that, um, I started getting raises. I started finding
Yeah,
other ways to make money. Yes. And then I started challenging myself. I started telling my boyfriend, like, you know what, next year I'm gonna be making $5 more than I'm making right now. And he would look at me like
mhm.
I'm crazy. And yeah, like within a year, I ended up making $5 more than what I was making
Yeah.
the year before. So it's just really changing your mindset, and it is, being aware of your money story. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
No, I think that's huge because like I think about like, what my money story is, right? And I
Mm,
know like well, so like my money story, for example, is like money doesn't grow on trees. So I grew up and I heard that over and over and over, right? So I always believed that there was never enough. So, kind of similar, right? It's just like I
yeah.
always worried about like, where is it going to come from next? Or, I always the other money story was like, oh, you have to work really hard to earn a lot of money, right?
Hmm.
It's not easy. That's the other thing. It's not easy to make money. So it's all about like, first bringing awareness to that, but then also figuring out to like, how is that showing up in your life now? And how is it also holding
Right.
you back from making certain decisions? Can you speak a little bit about like, some of the common money stories that you see and how to get over them? Like, how can you start like transforming your mindset and reprogramming your brain that that's not the way it is?
Yeah, so I think a common thing that we do is we apply our money story to other people as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so, for example, sorry, sorry,
Yep.
Monique, what's
It's
the
all good.
question again? I just have like
It's
all
all good.
these stories coming into my head, like my clients that
Yeah.
are, with their money stories are like coming up, and then I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh wait, what's the question?
No worries. Yeah, just like some of the common money stories that you see, and how to get over them. Like, how can we start reprogramming our brain?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely, we don't have any money is one of
Hmm.
them. What you were saying, money doesn't grow on
Hmm.
trees. You don't. I don't know if you said this because it got kind of cut off, but
Hmm.
one of a money story that I heard my client say, which was really interesting because I never heard that, was
Hmm.
um, it was similar to you have to work hard to make
Yeah.
money. So in his head, he translated it as if I'm having fun doing something that makes money, that doing something like that, I can't make money off of that. He's an
Exactly.
artist, he makes
Yeah.
music, and I was like, are you crazy? Like, because
Yeah.
I would tell him like, you're having a lot of fun doing this and you can get paid for this. And he's
Hmm.
like, and he started yeah, and his money stories just started kind of pouring out, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting because I never heard that. um but I did hear we don't have any money, so that that affected me a lot. So a way to get over this and a way to rewire it, and what I do with my clients is um I use like so I use affirmations
Hmm.
and visualizations those are my two biggest tools that I help them use. And there's a whole science behind that too, obviously. So it's just bringing yourself into the state of, in this case, like abundance with money, and repeating it to yourself constantly. And in the beginning, it's going to sound silly because in your head, you're like, this isn't true. Like, I don't have any money. Like, why am I saying I have a lot of money in my bank account? But you'll find that once you start repeating these affirmations, like money flows freely to me, or I am in abundance, or I earn passive income, or things like I find many ways to make money, and I have multiple sources of income. When you start saying those things to yourself, even though you may not believe it at that moment, it's kind of like when someone repeats a lie to you, you end up believing it because you constantly hear it so much that that your brain rewires itself, and then all of the opportunities start showing up. You're kind of brainwashing yourself and replacing like the filter in your head to see the opportunities instead of to see like the lack or to see why you don't have money. You're changing your focus to all the positive things of how you can make money, and because you're opening yourself up to that, it all of a sudden just seems like it just flows to you.
Yeah, exactly. I love that you said that because, like, it's just like, you're just changing certain things. You're replacing certain keywords or phrases, right? I always tell my
Mm-hmm.
clients, like, stop saying expensive, say premium.
Mm.
It removes like that negative piece from it. No, it's so
Right.
good. Okay, so for my young professionals, either, tuning in or watching the replay, what advice do you have for them? Like, maybe they're asking for, as it relates to like them asking for a raise, because I know like their money story will probably get in the way of that too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when asking for a raise, first of all, know that you're worth it.
hmm
And if you don't think you're worth it, start using affirmations.
Yep.
Um, I would highly recommend looking up what you're worth too. So for example, I'm an executive assistant. If I wanted a raise, I would look up, like they have this on Indeed, and I think they have it in LinkedIn. I'm not sure. But if you're looking up the average pay that your position or the position that you want, or the pay, how much they get paid, then you become more confident because you know that that's what you're worth. Definitely don't say things to yourself like, for us, because I think although we attract both genders, I think I don't know if I can speak the same for you, but our target audience is women. So there's a lot of things that are in the media, and a lot of it is just really bad. I know this is also controversial, but it's garbage. Like they tell us like women get paid less. So if you're constantly telling yourself that story, you're going to believe it, and you're going to make decisions based off of that belief. You're going to be vibrating at a very low frequency. You're going to be coming from a victim mindset, and you're not going to be able to confidently show up and show your boss what you're worth.
Yep.
So come to the table with confidence, have your facts straight. Women don't get paid less. I know that sounds bad, but know what your worth is, and you'll see that you can get paid. Like I've gotten paid more than, I don't know how I find out people's, like, I don't know how I find out how much they get paid. I just do. And I will find out that I get paid more than some of these guys who have like more credentials than I do. And it's all because of how you present yourself. Now, I like this specific guy that comes to mind. God, such a gentleman. He was a personal trainer, and he was making, he was working with like millionaires and things like that. But when he got hired at this physical therapy office where we both worked at, he was getting paid significantly less than I was. I don't know how I found out. I think he told me. I don't know why he told me, but people are just very open with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I get paid way more than him. But he had, at that time, like he had way more credentials than I did. But it was because I knew how much I wanted to get paid.
Yeah.
I showed up with confidence, and I asked for what I wanted to get, and I got what I wanted.
Good, exactly.
Yeah.
It's back to that law of attraction stuff, right? It's like the
Yeah,
more you put out there, you're just attracting higher vibes, right?
exactly.
Good. Okay, so for my entrepreneurs in the replays or in the group, what advice do you have for them around the fear as it relates to their own money stories, around like getting more sales, or where's my next sale going to come from, right? Because I know this one's very, very important because like if you're like I feel like I talk about this all the time. Like once you make it about you, you're making it very selfish, and
Hmm.
when you're asking for the sale, people will smell your commission breath, right?
Hmm.
So like but I know like people definitely go in asking for sales, but they go in with a lot of fear as well. What mindset tips do you have for them?
Okay, so yeah, that's really funny. I love how you say that they could smell did you say
Commission
commission
breath.
breath?
Yep.
Yes. So one of the things I've learned as a coach is if you're going out and like you're networking and you're doing it with the intention to turn every person you meet into a client, they're gonna feel that energy from you. And all you have, I mean, I think the mindset that that you have to show up with is just know that um, you're a competent coach and you're out there to help people. Because what's the whole reason why you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
If you're a coach, you're here to help people, and if you're giving out freely and out of good intention because you want to help people, then it's gonna that's gonna show a lot more, and it's gonna attract people. It's going to get people to come to you because they're going to see, oh, this person knows what she's talking about. This person wants to help me. Even during a discovery call, if you don't, I mean, if your thoughts are, oh my God, I have to get this person to sign up
Mhm.
with me, they're going to feel that desperation because based on your thoughts and how you're feeling, that's it's going to affect the words that you say. It's going to affect how, I mean, especially if it's something like this, it's going to show up in your body language, and it's going to show desperation, and people aren't going to want to work with that because they're not going to know that they won't think that they're getting the best kind of service from you.
Yeah.
um and what else I but yes, and then when it comes to the whole money thing, I think this I had this problem in the beginning too, is asking for money.
Mhm.
um our money stories from the past also have an effect on that, because when you think like back then, oh, I could never afford this, you're going to think, okay, I don't want to ask this person for, to pay
Mm.
me because they're not going to be able to afford this. But you don't know that. Don't.
Yeah. You might be projecting your own money story on them.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, exactly. So know your worth, know your price, stick
Mhm.
to it, and the right people will come to you. Like the people with that money is going to come to you. I think there's a whole like how to attract your audience.
Mhm.
There's people who like to teach that. And one of the things they say is, know their demographics, like how much are they making, what are they into, and it's
Mhm.
like, okay, I want to target people who, um, you know, are CEOs or are executives, and so with that thought, with that in mind, you're able to confidently say your prices, your high, especially if you have high ticket prices.
Mhm.
But yeah, people are more than willing to pay you if you have the knowledge and the product that they want.
Yeah, totally. No, I think that's so good. And I feel like it all goes back to that energy you're putting out too, right? Because it's like what
Hmm.
the world is also what you're attracting. I can say confidently, like that's definitely changed for me too. Because like when I first started out in finance, it definitely, I'm an introvert at heart, right? And it's like I had to learn like to put myself out there to like have a lot of, those tough conversations and everything too. But I started to think about like, what's my money story? And sometimes I shot myself in the foot because I would start projecting my money story onto my
Yeah,
clients as well. But it's like, no, actually, that's not the way that it works. But, I feel like the first step, like you said, is bringing awareness to it and then start to reprogram your mind, right? Start
exactly.
saying those affirmations, those visualizations. I think those are super helpful. So last question, I always love to end these Q&As with like action steps.
Hmm.
So what action steps would you recommend for people right now as they start thinking about, like what is their money story? How do they overcome?
Yeah. So definitely become aware of your money stories.
Mhm.
What do you find yourself constantly saying? I think it helps to write it down because you get a visual of it,
Yeah.
and then come up with a phrase that contradicts or that flips that money story into a
Mhm.
positive and
Yep.
turn that into to your affirmations and say it until you believe it, until you become it.
Yeah.
And just basically, you know, that's how you rewire your brain. So become aware, um, flip the sentence, and then
Nice.
say your affirmations and visualize.
Love it.
So, yeah, I hope
So
those are good
good.
action steps.
Yeah, no, I think those are awesome. I just want to thank you again for coming on. I feel like you've dropped so much wisdom and so much gold in this. I hope that a lot of you
Awesome.
tuning in have like taken a lot of notes, or if you're catching the replay, I've definitely learned a lot from you too. And I feel like people need to talk more about this because, like I
Hmm.
said before, like this is the foundation. I even have some clients that want to skip over this work because they think they know
Hmm.
it all already. But I definitely think it's super important to like continue to like retrain your brain and keep working on this
Yeah,
because we're all human, right? This isn't work that you just graduate from and you're done with. It's going to come up
exactly.
consistently. Yeah.
It still comes up for me every now and then. Like if I'm
Um,
about to pitch, like, if I want to, if I really feel like a client needs to continue working with me, there are times where I'm like, oh my God, like,
yeah.
and it's just like, okay, get a hold of yourself.
Yeah. Because it's not about you, it's about them. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. No, it's so good. Okay, so for my young professionals and entrepreneurs, interested in learning more from you directly, how can they get in touch with you?
They could follow me on Instagram. My handle is I am Victoria V. They could DM me and let me know, just whatever they're struggling with, but they can definitely get in touch with me on there. That's like, it's so funny. That's like my, other than my cell phone, obviously, but that's like my second, uh, uh, that's my primary mode of interacting and
Uh-huh.
getting in touch with me. So definitely DM me or comment or something.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, and I'll definitely have your handle tagged here in the replay. So yeah, again, I just want to thank you so much for being on this. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Do you have any final thoughts as we wrap up?
Um, no, but I love this quote and I love sharing
Mhm.
it because it's just so short and simple, but it's just so true.
Mhm.
But whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Mm.
So just tell yourself that, if not you, but you in general,
Yeah.
tell yourself that if you're coming across an obstacle. So whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. You get to choose.
Love that. Oh, I love that. I think that's like the perfect way to end this. Well,
Awesome.
thank you again for coming on here today. This was so good. Yeah, and then you guys definitely let me know like your thoughts and feedback on this too. If you want me to have Victoria on again, love to bring her on again. But yeah, I think we'll leave it at that.
All right.
All
Awesome.
right,
Thanks
girl.
so
Well,
much,
thanks
Monique.
again. Have a good
You're
day.
welcome. Thank you. All
Bye.
right. Bye.